Hello! Today I'm going to be showing you how to create a Swiss Vetterli round. Now, for all these Swiss Vetterli enthusiasts, which I am one, it's a fantastic cartridge, and the rifles are smooth action. They have almost no kick. It's a potent round, and it's a big one. And I'll be showing you how to create from this to this, all the way down the steps to a finalized product. Now, people normally, if they're lucky enough, can find 8mm Lebel or 348 Winchester cases, but since both are discontinued, it's very difficult, if not impossible, to find new manufacturer cases. So the next best thing that I've found is Starline. Starline puts out a 5110 brass case. This is pretty well the same case that I use for my Swedish rolling block 50 caliber, and the case can be cut down, trimmed, reformed to produce this. So the first stage, we're going to cut down, we're going to remove about 3/4 of an inch off of the case, then we're going to trim it, and trimmed, this case is 38mm, or it's exactly 1.504 inches. Next, we are going to reform the neck, and then we're going to prime it and load it, and we're going to come out with a product like this, which is the ready to fire center fire 41 caliber Swiss Vetterli. So first thing we do is we take a 5110 case and we set it into the bullet holder, or the case holder as the case may be. And what we're going to do is take off, shut that off before the battery runs off. There we go. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut off 3/4 of an inch from the 5110. Now we're going to go just a little bit over by probably 1/4 of an inch, because we're going to trim that amount. There we go, get that started. And there we go. That's caught. So my kingdom for a Dremel. There we go. And we're pretty well right through. So at this stage, we just snap that off. And there is that. There we go. 3/4 of an inch removed and can be tossed. So next, we just realign the case with the trimming head. Tighten that on. And before we do any cutting or trimming, I always lube the cutting die, and I use a deep penetrating oil. It's a very light oil. It's called Seafoam Deep Creep. It's just down at the local machine shop, and you can use any generic light oil, petroleum based product. And so I just shoot some oil onto the cutting head and start, just get it started, and there we go. So as we cut, I lube it up. That extends the life of the cutting bit, and I don't want to cut too much, so I always double check how much I have, and we're almost there. Put it on again, a little bit more oil. And a little bit more. And just double check what I have here. And a little bit more. That's it. Perfect. 38 mil. So, what you see here is just a lot of debris. Take that off. And what I do is I take the deburring tool and just remove the burrs from the inside. And I take my fine file and just remove the burrs from the outside edge. And not very much pressure at all. And again, I just deburr it. And clean it up a little bit. I'll put this into my tumbler and properly clean it. I'll use the bore brush, 50 caliber bore brush, get all the bits and pieces out of there. And there we have a proper length casing. So there's the original. Sorry, get that out of the way. There's the original. There's this next stage. So what we have to do next is we'll take this case and put it into my press. And I have a die set that I got from Buffalo Arms. They're down in Minnesota, and they have all three sizes for the Swiss Vetterli. As the Swiss Vetterli was manufactured, they came out with the 38, the 42, and the 47 millimeter cartridge. So the 38, which I have, is the short one, and it progressively got more powerful as they manufactured the rifle. And this die set is the resizer and bullet crimp, and this is the neck expander. So we'll use those two in conjunction with each other, and we are going to first use the former and set that in. Now before we do anything, I'm just going to use RCBS case lube and just put a few drops along the neck because I don't want the casing to bind. So I put that into the bullet holder, press, and what we have is a little bit of dirt. What we have is a formed case, but if you notice, it's being crimped. So what I'm going to do is remove the bullet press and put on the neck expander and open up the neck, and there we go. That is now ready to be cleaned and then loaded. So what I have next is this case, which has already been cleaned in advance. So now I'm ready to prime. What I use for primers is CCI, and it's large rifle primers, number 11. And I have this already set up in advance, so I don't have to waste too much time. I'll shake it into place, put the case on, press the primer in. Now we have a primed 41 rimfire case. Now this is ready to be loaded with propellant. Now originally the Swiss Vetterli was loaded with black powder, but black powder is quite corrosive. So what I use is Hodgdon's Pyrodex RS, which is the black powder equivalent. You can't use it by weight, it has to be by volume. If you do it by weight, then this is going to have a lot more, the case is going to overflow, and it's going to be like 10 or 15% more powerful, so it might blow your rifle. So always remember, do your calculations and make sure that you're loading the correct amount, or else you're going to overload and might have a catastrophic failure. So I've already pre-weighed, and here I have 35 grains of sorry, not black powder, I'm talking too much, 35 grains of the Pyrodex RS. Here's my primed case. Drop it in. And we are, if you see, we are almost at the top. There's not much room left, but that is ready to be pressed. I'll just make sure that I have the right die in here, which I don't. That's the neck expander. I put back on the bullet press and crimp. Snug it down. Now, the Swiss Vetterli bullet originally is a 430 diameter, 310 grain lead, which is quite a large lead. But I find I do have a Lee bullet mold that I use, but that's way too much work to hand mold each one, but I found a cheap alternative. Cactus Plains Ammunition puts out a 44, which I use for my Reichs revolver, reloading that, but it's a 200 grain, so it's a little bit lighter bullet, and it's an RNFP, so it's a round nose flat, and if you see, the bullet diameter is 429 for the Cactus Plains ammo. Swiss Vetterli original is 430, so 430 and 429, they're practically identical. So this is my inexpensive alternative. I use that as the 200 grain 429 diameter bullet. So I put that, just line it up, press, and clean it up. And there we have a Swiss Vetterli 41 centerfire ready to fire. And that's going to go out into the range this weekend. Thanks for watching.